So, Rue, the $64,000 question is, what's in the suitcase?
Cassie's crazy.
But that's the Cassie we love.
Exactly. She's the favorite. It's the favorite version
Euphoria was once the most talked about show on television. But now, it's been over 3 years, half the cast is gone, and even Zendaya might not save it. Season 3 is finally happening. But the behind-the-scenes chaos is way darker than anyone expected. It's been over 3 years since Euphoria aired a new episode. And at this point, fans aren't just frustrated. They're tired. Season 2 ended in February 2022, and since then, it's felt like the entire show has just vanished into thin air. There's been no real trailer, no confirmed premiere date, and very little communication from HBO. For a series that once dominated every corner of the internet, the silence is almost surreal.
Season 3 is still in the works. It feels like it's actually never going to come out ever. But despite all of the drama,
at first, the delays were blamed on the usual industry chaos: strike-related shutdowns, scheduling conflicts, post-pandemic reshuffling. Fans were patient. They waited through 2023, then 2024. HBO said Season 3 would air in 2025. But by early 2025, that promise had been quietly replaced with yet another delay. Now, all signs point to 2026. No one's officially confirmed it, but the writing is on the wall, and fans aren't taking it lightly. What makes it worse is that Euphoria wasn't just another show. It was a cultural earthquake. Week after week, episodes went viral.
Even begin. This has been one of the messiest shows off screen. At the end of Euphoria Season 2, several major storylines.
TikTok trends exploded. Fans dressed as characters for Halloween. Memes, theories, and fan edits flooded timelines. For a while, Euphoria felt like the only show that mattered. It captured an entire generation. But in the years since, all that energy has fizzled. The fandom, once loud and obsessive, has gone quiet. Reddit threads that used to update by the minute are now filled with sarcasm and disappointment. Twitter users are openly mocking HBO's delays. And YouTube comment sections have shifted from speculation to skepticism. Why even bother anymore? For a lot of people, the answer is don't.
To an end, but not before leaving us all in a state of shock, awe, and confusion. Let's get right into it.
The long wait hasn't just stalled excitement, it's chipped away at the trust fans once had in the show. And there's a real fear now that when Euphoria finally does return, it won't be the same. That maybe the wait has killed the magic. That the storylines we loved are too far gone and the characters we cared about have either moved on or disappeared altogether. And those fears aren't unfounded because the wait isn't just about timing, it's about damage. With every missed release window, behind-the-scenes problems kept stacking up. Production halts, conflicts, cast members leaving, creative disagreements, the kind of things that quietly destroy momentum.
Always knew this day would come for poor Ashtray, the baby-faced drug dealer whose protection for Fezco was second to none. And in the last episode of...
No matter how passionate the fan base once was. So now, the question isn't just, when will Season 3 arrive? But will it even be worth it when it does? Because while fans were busy counting the days, the real issue was unfolding behind the scenes. A web of unresolved storylines, disappearing characters, and key stars who won't be returning. And that's where the cracks really begin to show. When Euphoria Season 2 ended, it didn't feel like a conclusion. It felt like a cliffhanger explosion. Nearly every major storyline was left hanging in mid-air. Rue, Jules, Nate, Cal, Fezco, Lexi, none of their arcs were fully resolved.
Ash shot and accidentally wounded Fez, then the police apparently killed Ash, much to the shock of viewers. One says of the teenager's last stand,
and fans were promised that Season 3 would finally bring the answers. But after years of silence and delays, those promises feel empty. Let's start with Rue. The last time we saw her, she was still battling addiction, still grieving, and still deep in debt to the terrifying drug dealer Lori. She owed her $10,000. That debt was never paid. that threat was never resolved. And when Rue's friends flushed her entire stash down the toilet, it created a rift so deep, it shattered her friendship and relationship with Jules. Then there's Nate. He turned his father, Cal, into the police in a stunning moment of betrayal.
Jacob Elordi pretty much summed it up when he described it as feeling like the end of days and followed that up with it's madness.
But we never saw the fallout. What happened to Cal? What happened to their family? What does that mean for Nate's future? And Fezco, possibly the show's most beloved character, was arrested after a violent shootout that ended with the death of his younger brother, Ashtray. Lexi had just begun to break through his hardened exterior, sparking one of the show's most emotional, slow burn relationships. But their story never had a chance to play out. Instead, it ended with flashing police lights and heartbreak. None of these plot lines were wrapped up. None of them were given closure. And now, years later, the emotional momentum is gone. Fans who once rewatched the finale to search for clues are now struggling to remember.
Literally. Now, let's talk about what happens in the rest of the episode, because Lexi's play gets dramatically interrupted by Cassie,
where the story even left off. The longer the delay, the colder these cliffhangers become. And here's the worst part. Some of these storylines may never get resolved at all, because not every character is coming back. The cast shakeups are more than just creative changes. They're a warning sign. Because when a show loses this many key players, it's not just the cast that's changing, it's the entire DNA of the story. And fans were about to find out just how much had already been lost. For a show built around its characters, Euphoria is facing a brutal truth. Some of its biggest stars are not coming back.
Of Euphoria, with many juggling commitments and having to prioritize the show despite not actually being able to film.
It started with Barbie Ferreira, who played Kat. After being sidelined throughout season 2, Barbie confirmed she was done with the show. She later revealed that her character was basically written out because creator Sam Levinson didn't know what to do with her. Fans were furious. Kat wasn't just a fan favorite, she was one of the few characters whose storyline felt grounded and real. Her departure marked the beginning of a larger issue. The unraveling of the original cast. Then came the heartbreak no one saw coming. Angus Cloud, who played Fezco, tragically passed away in 2023.
Angus Cloud's cause of death has been revealed.
I love everybody, you feel me?
ET can confirm the 25-year-old actor
His
died.
death shocked both fans and castmates. Angus wasn't just a character actor. He was Fezco. Raw, authentic, and emotionally layered in a way that grounded the chaos around him. Losing him was more than losing a performer. It was losing the emotional heart of the show. Fans have openly questioned how Euphoria can continue without him, especially after Ashtray's death and Fez's final scenes in season 2. Some even said the show should have ended there because continuing without him just wouldn't feel right. And it didn't stop there. Storm Reid, who played Rue's younger sister, and Nika King, who portrayed her mother, are also reportedly not returning.
Anxiety related to playing this character. I mean, it's so intense, right? A lot of our fight scenes were
Which begs the question, if Rue's entire family is gone, what's left of Rue's story? Her recovery, her guilt, her family trauma, those dynamics were central to her character. Without them, Rue becomes a completely different person. And that's if she returns at all. The show is losing the very people who made it what it was. Each cast member gone is a missing piece in a puzzle that's already been sitting unfinished for far too long. And while some fans are holding out hope that Zendaya's presence will be enough to carry the show, others aren't so sure. Because even Zendaya may be closer to walking away than anyone realizes. And if that happens...
We're real life sisters, I believe that. We should
Euphoria might not survive it. While Euphoria has lost several of its original cast members to creative differences, scheduling conflicts, and tragedy, one actor made a return that stunned and deeply moved fans around the world: Eric Dane, who plays Cal Jacobs. In early 2025, Eric publicly revealed that he had been diagnosed with ALS, a rare and aggressive neurodegenerative disease. He shared that he had already lost full use of his right arm and was rapidly losing function in his left. For many, this diagnosis would mean stepping away from the spotlight to focus on treatment and recovery. But Eric made a choice no one expected. He went back to work.
I'm fighting as much as I can. There's so much about it that's out of my control.
That's Eric.
Just 4 days after making his diagnosis public, Eric returned to the set of Euphoria to begin filming season 3. Fans were stunned, not only by the news, but by the strength it took to keep going. In interviews, Eric described the set as a lifeline, a place that gave him purpose and energy during the most difficult chapter of his life. He made it clear that he wasn't just filming a show, he was fighting for normalcy, for identity, and for a connection to the work he loved. His decision sent shockwaves through the Euphoria community. Many fans became even more emotionally invested in season 3, eager to see how Cal's story would unfold.
Walk in here with your head held high. It's a very interesting character and very complex, and I have a great time playing it, as weird as it is.
Knowing what the actor behind the character was enduring in real life. For some, it became a rallying point. If Eric Dane could show up under those circumstances, maybe the show still had something worth holding on to. Insiders have hinted that Cal's role in the new season is significantly expanded, possibly as a way to give Eric more screen time while he's still able to work. That shift could mean Euphoria season 3 ends up being more emotionally grounded than fans expected, especially in contrast to the chaos surrounding the rest of the cast and production. But not everyone sees it that way.
To the kind of younger version of myself, I would just say, be easier on yourself. Don't be so hard.
Some fans expressed frustration that it took this long for Eric to return to set, especially considering how long Euphoria was stuck in production limbo. If the delays had been resolved earlier, he might have had more time, more freedom, and more physical ability to bring Cal's story to life. That frustration, once again, pointed back to the growing list of issues behind the scenes. And the one name that kept coming up was Euphoria's creator, Sam Levinson. Because as one actor was fighting for the chance to stay in the show, others were quietly disappearing, and the stories behind those exits weren't just sad. They were deeply unsettling.
Months after her exit from the HBO series, the 26-year-old clears the air during the April 3rd episode of The Armchair.
If there's one name that keeps popping up at the center of Euphoria's downfall, it's Sam Levinson. When Euphoria first premiered, fans saw Sam as a visionary. His stylized direction, raw storytelling, and willingness to push boundaries made the show feel electric. But in recent years, the praise has turned into criticism. And for some fans, even concern. Behind the scenes, Sam has been quietly clashing with cast members, particularly Zendaya. According to multiple reports, Zendaya wasn't on board with Sam's initial vision for season 3, which included turning Rue, who's battling addiction and trauma, into a private detective.
Never done drugs, it feels very real. I feel like I'm watching a version of myself navigating the...
Yes, you heard that right. HBO reportedly shut that idea down fast. Zendaya then pitched her own arc, a story where Rue gets sober and becomes a surrogate mother. It was emotional, grounded, redemptive. But Sam didn't go for that either. Instead of leaning into character development, insiders say he wanted more spectacle, more chaos, and the tension between them started to grow. But that was just the beginning. Fans began to question Sam's creative decisions after the release of The Idol, his other HBO series co-created with The Weeknd. The show was supposed to be edgy, artistic, and insightful. Instead, it was slammed for being chaotic.
Have a very honest, real, just capturing of what being a teenager now means, and
overly explicit and shockingly tone-deaf. Many accused it of glamorizing toxic dynamics. Critics called it exploitative. Even cast members reportedly felt uncomfortable on set. And suddenly, fans began looking at Euphoria in a new light. People started asking why actresses like Sydney Sweeney were constantly put in graphic scenes that often didn't advance the plot. The phrase male gaze began trending alongside Sam's name. And just like that, the admiration started to crumble. Even those who once defended him began to wonder, was this guy ever a genius? Or has he just been riding the line between edgy and exploitative the whole time?
Navigate the world today, and it's from their perspective. There is an incredible amount of
Because what started as artistic freedom now looked a lot more like creative control run unchecked. And with cast members leaving, storylines falling apart, and production delays piling up, fans began to suspect that Sam might not be building a masterpiece. He might be running it into the ground. But things only got messier when one specific accusation surfaced. One that suggested Sam didn't just take creative control, he may have taken credit for someone else's vision entirely. As the cracks in Sam Levinson's creative reputation grew, one accusation stood out above the rest. And it wasn't about bad storylines or power struggles. It was about theft.
Saying he wrote Euphoria based on her previous work and he wanted her to direct it. Collins worked with the HBO team and did the...
In 2022, acclaimed photographer and filmmaker Petra Collins came forward with a shocking claim. She said Euphoria's signature dreamy aesthetic, the hazy lighting, soft pastels, surreal visuals, was hers. According to Petra, Sam reached out to her in the early days of development and said the show was inspired by her visual style. He even invited her to help shape its creative direction. She said yes. Petra moved to Los Angeles, spent 5 months working on the show, contributed to casting, set design, and the overall mood. But just before production kicked off, HBO allegedly dropped her, calling her too young.
She said, "I walked out of my apartment and see this billboard, and it's exactly what I am, as a copy of my work.
No directing credit. No recognition. Nothing." Then, months later, she walked through LA and saw a Euphoria billboard, plastered with her exact style, her colors, her lighting, her compositions, and not a single mention of her name. She was devastated. Fans were too. The idea that Euphoria, a show praised for its unique look, might have lifted that look from an uncredited woman behind the scenes sparked immediate backlash. Petra wasn't just some random creative. She's worked with Selena Gomez, Olivia Rodrigo, Gucci, Adidas.
And have to be complicated. Have fun with it. Move really fast. It's beautiful. You have the power to create images that...
Her style is distinct, and it was all over Euphoria. This wasn't the first time Sam had been accused of sidelining women. During his other project, The Idol, reports revealed that director Amy Seimetz was originally in charge. She filmed nearly 80% of the show before being suddenly replaced by Sam. Once he took over, the tone shifted, from female-driven and nuanced to graphic, male-focused, and disturbing. Critics said it lost all emotional depth and became straight-up exploitative. Now fans are asking, is Sam empowering bold storytelling, or just taking the work of women and rebranding it as his own?
People know me more as an actor, but I started as a writer and director. And Sun Don't Shine for
The Petra Collins situation became symbolic, not just of Euphoria's fall from grace, but of a pattern fans were beginning to see. Sam building empires off other people's visions, then pushing them aside when it was time to take credit. And while all this controversy swirled behind the scenes, HBO stayed quiet. They tried to shift the narrative by announcing flashy cast additions, like Rosalía. But at that point, the damage was done. Still, some fans were holding out hope. Maybe season 3 could redeem everything. And then rumors started flying, about weddings, pregnancies, time jumps, and storylines that sounded nothing like the show we remembered.
Constant anxiety that I think exists in this generation, that I think informed, the whole filmmaking process.
After years of silence, cast shakeups, and creative chaos, HBO finally confirmed what fans had been waiting to hear. Euphoria Season 3 is officially in production. But what that actually means is still a mystery. What we do know is that the story is jumping ahead in time. Actor Colman Domingo confirmed that Season 3 takes place some years later and promised that we'll see the characters in completely new circumstances. For fans, that could mean anything from college life to full-on adulthood. But with so many cast members missing, it's unclear whose stories will even be told. One thing fans have seen: set leaks. Clips from production show Nate and Cassie in wedding attire.
Filming Euphoria today. So the rumors are true, the Cassie and Nate wedding is happening? Sydney was pictured with Alana
Rue filming in a diner, and Zendaya yelling at a new character. But nothing is confirmed. Some fans think the wedding is part of a dream sequence. Others believe it's real, and that Cassie may be pregnant in Season 3. A rumor that's picked up steam across fan forums. Sydney Sweeney, who plays Cassie, has hinted that this season is her wildest yet. In interviews, she's described it as unhinged, even saying she's constantly pushing Sam Levinson to go crazier with her scenes. That comment made fans nervous, especially after everything that happened with The Idol. If Season 3 is more unhinged than the last, what are we actually in for?
Euphoria is coming back. Season 3 is set to begin production in January, and the new season will have 8 episodes.
Rosalía, the international music icon, is also reportedly joining the cast. Her role remains under wraps, but her presence adds even more hype and pressure for the season to deliver. Other returning cast members have teased that this season dives deeper into character backstories, including Ali, Rue's mentor, and possibly even Cal Jacobs, now that Eric Dane has returned. But with characters like Fezco, Kat, Rue's family, and Ashtray gone, many fans are asking, what's left? Even Zendaya during interviews has been unusually vague. She's described filming as fun and crazy. But when asked for details, she shuts it down immediately.
The thing is, usually with that kind of relationship, you do a reading together.
Right.
But we didn't.
Yeah.
We have chemistry.
We got lucky.
No spoilers, no confirmation, just more mystery. Oh, and it's been confirmed, Season 3 will only be 8 episodes. After all this time, all the delays, and all the drama, 8 episodes is all we're getting. Now the question isn't just what's going to happen. It's whether or not it can live up to the chaos, the hype, and the emotional weight of everything that came before. And at this point, that might be impossible. After everything, the endless delays, the cast departures, the behind-the-scenes drama, fans are left asking one question. Is Euphoria Season 3 arriving too late to matter? It's been over 3 years since the last episode aired.
I've been waiting for this. We want this. How is everyone? Where is everyone?
Cassie is crazy.
But that's
The momentum is gone. The core cast has been shaken, and the trust between creators and audience, that's hanging by a thread. Even with all the new additions, time jumps, and teasers, fans are struggling to feel the same excitement they once had. What was once a groundbreaking series that sparked cultural movements now feels like a franchise barely holding itself together. Worse, there's a growing belief that the longer Euphoria tries to chase the chaos of its earlier seasons, the more disconnected it becomes from what made the show powerful in the first place. Emotional honesty, relatable pain, raw storytelling.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, good. We can't say anything else. No, we can't say.
All of that now risks being buried under stylized shock and controversy. And let's be honest, a few leaked wedding scenes and A couple of wild interviews aren't enough to rebuild that connection. Not after what fans have lost. Not when so many feel like the version of Euphoria they fell in love with is already gone. So now we're here, staring down an 8-episode season that might just make or break one of the most talked about shows of the decade. Will it be a triumphant comeback or a beautifully filmed disaster? Because at this point, Season 3 won't just be another chapter in the story, it'll be a test for the creators, for the cast.
You might recognize some familiar faces. Among the surprise cast for Season 3, we have former NFL running back for the Seattle Seahawks.
And for every fan still holding on. And what happens next will either save Euphoria or bury it for good. Euphoria was once unstoppable. It redefined teen dramas, launched careers, and captivated millions with its raw emotion and bold storytelling. But after years of silence, sudden exits, tragic losses, and creative chaos, the show is standing on shaky ground. Season 3 isn't just a continuation, it's a redemption arc. A final shot to prove the magic isn't lost and that Euphoria still has something powerful to say. But with only 8 episodes, a fractured cast, and a skeptical audience.
So I think she goes really hard, really fast, a little faster than maybe Jules is prepared for.
The odds aren't exactly in its favor. The real question now isn't what happens on screen. It's whether anyone will still be watching when it finally airs. So what do you think? Has Euphoria waited too long to make its comeback? Or is this just the calm before a truly unforgettable storm? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear your predictions, your theories, and whether you'll even be tuning in when it finally drops. And if you want to stay in the loop on Euphoria and all the behind-the-scenes drama, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because this story is far from over.